Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned into the hottest podcast on the internet. All raw opinions. Come on. Norma, I see you. Rollo. All raw opinions. Let's talk about it.
So welcome to Our Raw Opinions.
Hey, Norma, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing very good. We got a really special guest today.
We do. We have Sergeant Michael Gonzalez
Welcome.
from Santa Ana Police Department.
How you doing?
Hello, everyone. I'm fantastic. Couldn't be better.
Great. I like the shirt you got on.
I know, it's very nice.
The sun came out today, and we're in Southern Cal. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yes, we are actually interviewing you because you were at that huge mass shooting in Las Vegas in 2017?
2017, yes.
Yes, what did they call it?
So the concert, the venue, the concert theme was Route 91.
Yeah, so tell us about it because you saved many lives that time, in 2017.
Yeah, tell us from the beginning, like what you were doing during the time and, you know, how you were there. Just go through it.
Yeah, why you were there.
Well, first of all, for you two, congratulations. I guess this is your first on.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's not so much about Mike Gonzalez right now. It's about you two. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So my background, a little bit about me, which will play into the storyline. I retired from the Navy in 2017. I did just under 32 years. At the same time, I was a police officer with the city of Santa Ana. So I was in the Navy first, get out of the Navy. I become a police officer in Santa Ana. I missed the military. I joined back up. 9/11 happens. I was very, very fortunate to work for the city of Santa Ana, the city and the various chiefs we had. The city of Santa Ana. So when I get mobilized, I left after 9/11. So I leave everything I know here for a year, which means my total income drops. So I go to the Middle East. The good thing about the city of Santa Ana is they matched my military pay.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't become homeless or I wouldn't lose anything. So the city took care of me. So with that training going to the Middle East, we received something called Tactical Combat Casualty Care, which is an advanced level of first aid, how to keep military members or civilians out in the field if they're injured by gunshot trauma or something that causes massive bleeding, how to prepare them, stabilize them just enough till we can get them to what we would call definitive medical care.
Mm-hmm.
So the military provided that training. I was fortunate enough to go to the Middle East a couple times, Central America, and with each deployment, I received additional medical training. Fast forward to Santa Ana. After I get out of the Navy, I become a police officer. I become part of what's called the Tactical Emergency Combat Casualty Care, or TECC cadre. It's a countywide program that trains officers from from the sheriff's department and from every municipality within the county. We teach them the same military medical interventions that the military gets. So this was a paradigm shift from in the past where police officers would not treat victims. And hands down, Santa Ana PD took the bull by the horns. We hold the classes. So I was fortunate enough to surround myself around a lot of combat veterans, Marine infantry, Rangers, Air Force Special Forces, Green Berets, that just all police officers. So country concert comes along. My friends go, "Hey, Mike, let's go to Vegas." Sounds like a good plan. How long's the concert? 3 days. You know, and there's always a humorous side. Who wants to go to Vegas for 3 days?
Right.
Yeah. Sin City.
No better. So Day one, I'm at the venue. It's a large venue, open seating for the handicap. Otherwise, it was a stand as you go. And I was in total tourist mode. The thing about country concerts, there's a lot of military veterans there, a lot of police officers there, a lot of firefighters there. This was day two. Was sitting by the venue. Country group was on, listening to the music. I was probably 100 yards, 75 yards away from the stage with some friends that were also Los Angeles police officers. And I hear initial gunfire, but it doesn't register to me because one, I'm at a country concert.
Right.
I'm not in Kuwait. I'm not in Central America. I'm not in Somalia. And I still hear the music playing. So we have there's a thing that called color coding where your brain will switch. Hey, I'm in condition green right now because I'm safe. Well, I shouldn't have been in condition green, right? Lesson learned, right? I didn't have my sensors up. So I hear the gunfire, but it's still not registering, even though I've heard gunfire in the past coming from me or directed toward me. I hear it, and my friend from LAPD goes, "Hey, Mike, that's gunfire." And I pause, but the music's still playing. Mm-hmm. And there's also this thing that happens in the human psyche. It's called denial, that it can't be happening. Mm-hmm. But if you learn something from this podcast, is it is happening.
Right.
And adjust accordingly. So I hear the gunfire, and I pause and I think, I go, man, there must be like a gang shooting on Las Vegas Boulevard.
Right.
That's where my brain went. And then they go, hey, get down. I hear more gunfire, but I don't get down to take a knee because it was so crowded. There's 20,000 people. I didn't want to be on my knees if the guy or the woman, whoever came, had the gun. I wanted to see who was coming at me. I wanted to become situationally aware of my environment.
Correct.
What actions can I take? What weapons do I have? And how do I get my friends out of here? Mm-hmm. So then the magazine is what holds the bullet. Some people, they call it clips, but it's called a magazine. Then it goes to a very, very long burst, which is approximately 100 rounds, which is that magazine is even larger than SWAT officers carry and patrol officers carry. It was full auto. And then my mind went, hey, this sounds like overseas. And then I started to hear people screaming. I still couldn't see people dying because 5 feet in front of me, 10 feet in front of me, there was people standing up. Right. So the people were maybe 100 feet away, but I couldn't see them because there were people standing in the way. And then you hear the music play, you hear the 100-round magazine, the music stops, he's still shooting, and then you start to hear the screaming. So what I'm going to play here is country singers playing, Jason Aldean. You'll hear the music, you hear some initial gunfire, then you're going to hear him stop, and then you're going to hear what we heard, the initial 100 rounds. So it should be a couple minutes right here. Okay. You're hearing gunfire already, but nobody knows. So he's taking a break. He's going to start back up. There's already people dead, but no one knows. Wow. All right, would y'all say we pick it back up just a little bit?
Wow.
Nobody knows us what's going on.
So
Wow.
that's the Jason Aldean's playing. We're in condition green, and you could hear that run of rifle fire. There wasn't a conspiracy. There wasn't 2 or 3 shooters. I didn't know initially where he was shooting at from. And my friend, I asked, hey, where's it coming from?
What kind
They
of
point to the Mandalay Bay. They go, hey, Mike, it's right up there. And I look up toward the Mandalay Bay, and I could see muzzle flash. And then I just heard continuous shooting nonstop over and over. My initial reaction, hey, I got everybody down. I was just trying to orientate myself. Hey, what's happening? I watched some Las Vegas Metro police officers run past me or my group, and they ran into the crowd because I'm thinking, hey, maybe the shooter's there. We move about 20 feet, thinking, hey, let's find a way to get out of here. My friends, we were a large group. Some started running toward the same entrance we came in. I made the choice with my small group. I go, hey, let's not go the same route we came in. In case the kids are like Columbine kids, they're going to be waiting for us. Let's go the way the police officers came in. So as we formulated our plan, none of us are hit. I go, hey, let's go. There's a break in the fire. At that point, I see them running out. The Las Vegas Metro officers are coming out, and one of them shot in the face.
Wow.
As we're moving toward the exit, it's just truly chaos, right? It's survival. I was fortunate enough to have some training, but normally I'm prepared. I have a radio, I have weapons, but right now I have no weapons, I have no radio, and I'm literally watching people run by me who are shot, crying, and I have no medical gear. So as we grab our friends and we said, hey, let's run to the exit. So as we run to the exit, this is what we're hearing. And this is another audio from an Uber video. This is from an Uber, so that's why you hear the music.
Wow.
That is awful.
Wow.
Awful. Oh my God.
For someone who doesn't know about guns too much, so what gun was that? What kind of gun was that?
Based on what they arrested him with, it was an AR-15.
Wow.
Oh.
It shoots around a 5.56. Generic terms would be an M16 for the military, but a civilian version. It's a small bullet like a 22, but it travels very fast. And what he did, he had modified it so it would go fully automatic.
Wow.
And then he had bought magazines that would hold 100 rounds, 100 bullets, which enabled him to fire 100 rounds at a time. Some of the casualty statistics before we go any deeper, and we were very fortunate, there were 413 people shot that night, over 500 gunshot wounds. So if you can imagine from the medical standpoint, 413 people shot, some of them shot multiple times, 250 patients transported by EMS, Medical West, and then 13 area hospitals saw patients. Unfortunately, out of the 413 people that were shot, 58 of them died. If you look at the numbers, 413, 58 died. Some of the 58 that died would have died even if there was a doctor right next to him.
Wow.
So as he's sitting up there, we were very fortunate that Las Vegas Metropolitan came out and spoke to some of us that were there, and they provided insight on what the suspect did. He takes a hammer, he breaks a hole into a glass. He had a great plan. we have a saying in our medical training that the day chooses you. You can do everything right in your life, but one day you're going to be called upon to act, and you're either going to perform or you're going to fail.
Right.
A current example now would be the officers in Nashville. They were prepared. They didn't wait for anybody. Then the opposite side of the coin, we have Uvalde, Texas, and Florida. So it was nice to see officers that took the job seriously, as in Nashville, and they saved those kids' lives. The most recent one. So after the initial, you heard the second audio of just gunshot. There's 8 minutes of that. So we move our friends. Some people don't want to get up, and obviously they're scared. And we look, hey, we have to move. You have to keep moving. So you're going to be in your own world, right? And so, by your own world, I mean everyone's trying to survive by themselves. There's 20,000 people, but everybody's an individual. I'm hurting my group. We move them by the medical tent, which is about 50 yards away from where the shooting took place. We ran our civilian friends out. He's still shooting, but as we're passing, I see a white tent that says medical tent. And as I'm passing it, I already see bodies laid outside. I don't want to say like cords of wood, but like cords of wood. People had carried the wounded or the dead, set them on the ground. I don't fault them. People are heavy when they're dead or wounded. So they dropped them. My friend and I, we ran 50 feet to the street. He's still shooting, and we look at each other's LAPD, and we said, hey, look, let's go back in. And then our friends, hey, where you guys going? We're like, hey, we're going to go back in. You guys just go. So he's still shooting, and we run back in. And we had talked about it back and forth. Why did we go back in? One, because we have the training, and it just felt at the right thing to do at that time, right?
Right.
I don't those that ran. If I had my young children with me, if I had my spouse with me, if I had my mom or dad with me, they would have been my priority.
Right.
The sense I was there as an individual with another police officer. We went into what I've been trained to do in the military and the
Right.
police officer. So as we run to the medical tent, I open up a tent, and it's prior to this Route 91. It was the traditional medical EMS tent, and you've all seen it. So I try to make it real. All of us have been to the Orange County Fair. We've all been to Disneyland. We've all been to car shows or something where you see the EMS tent, the emergency medical services tent. Well, that young person that works in there has just got their EMT certification. They're probably 18 or 19 years old. They'll end up being a firefighter or a police officer, but they just don't have that combat trauma experience. So as soon as we open the door, what do I can I can close my eyes and paint you a picture. I see two young girls in Daisy Duke boots, Daisy Duke shorts, cowboy boots, blood running down their legs. They're both on, and there's two EMTs trying to put an IV in them, and they both have tourniquets up on their upper thighs. I can't see their faces, but I'm familiar with that. So tell my partner, hey, first thing, let's glove up. So we put on gloves. They're still working on those two patients. We do a quick assessment. I look around, and I'm probably looking at 20 people that are shot. The strange thing is people aren't really crying. They're in shock. I'm looking at maybe 10 men that are sitting on a chair, and they're shot in the chest with small holes. It looks like a zit because it's a very small bullet from a long distance. Their shirts off, and blood's just trickling out, and they're just looking at me, not saying a word. And then we start treating people. What do? We ask them, hey, do you have a chest seal? And the chest seal is to plug a hole in the chest.
Right.
Do you have any tourniquets? We used them already. Prior to this incident, those EMS first aid tents. That's all they had was basic stuff. Now, everybody has since, reorganized and uh, reconstituted what medical equipment they know they need.
Right.
So, and then we just, uh, first example I'll get, we glove up my partner. Hey, there's no tourniquets. He takes a stethoscope. A lady is shot in her upper arm where the brachial artery is, and for all medical purposes, she's bleeding to death.
Wow.
Artery. So he just grabs her, makes a tourniquet out of this. Hey, are you okay? She's in shock. He goes, look, you got to go. There's nothing else we can do for you here. They bring another lady in. She's shot in the face, and she's in a lot of pain. She's having a hard time breathing, one, because the blood in the mouth coagulates. It gets really thick fast.
Right.
Right.
So we've all been cut in the mouth, and I look at her. Can you breathe? And she gives me the maybe not. So what I have to do, I have to become personal with her, right? And there's not a lot of time to, hey, my name is Mike. So I hold the back of her head and I take my fingers and gently as I can, I reach into her mouth and I sweep out some teeth, some of her tongue, some of her gums. And when I clear the airway, there's this immediate response where she takes a deep breath.
Wow.
Right? And she just be like, I go, are you better? She gives me thumbs up.
Cleared the airway.
Yes, because it's two things. One, I just got shot. Two, now I'm having a hard time breathing, and now I have the anxiety of not breathing. So we clear her out, and then we start making tourniquets. Some other guy comes in there and starts cutting the tent. So while we were inside there treating people, I could still hear the gunfire, but it's like they couldn't see us, so I felt safe in there. It's just, and everyone else that was in there treating people, just obviously we've spoken since, they felt the same way. We keep in contact, just like we're brothers and sisters now, right? Like we had an experience together. So we stay inside there for about an hour. Someone asked me, hey, can you come outside and help? I go outside and there's like 10 bodies laid outside the tent, dead. One guy is doing CPR on somebody and he looks at me and he goes, hey, can you help me? Well, in a mass casualty, I probably shouldn't do CPR because I'm concentrating a lot of energy on one person when I could probably save 10, right? But I get sucked in, right? So I start doing CPR on her, and as I'm doing CPR, he stops the breaths, and I'm looking at her, and I could tell she's dead. Just by the wound. She's still warm, but I know she's dead. So I stop CPR, and then on my right side, I hear a woman that says, hey, don't stop, that's my daughter. So I'm still, I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm an uncle, I'm a human. Hey, don't stop, that's my daughter. So what I did, I got up and I turned to the left because I didn't want to see mom's face. Because there's nothing I could do for mom, and mom would break my heart right now. And I can't have a broken heart today. My heart can break tomorrow. Today I got to go to work. So did I ever follow up on who it was? No. Nor do I want to. Right? I'm good. That is good where it's at. That belongs in Vegas where it should stay. So we go back inside. There's so many people that would come help and treat. We would carry bodies outside, and people would just stop their car, and you would just watch the goodness of people. Strangers carrying strangers on bike rails, both living and dead. People stopping and bloody bodies just getting in the back of their car. People slapping the hood and cars driving away. We were in there for probably about an hour and 15 minutes. We treated everything. We put tourniquets on, chest seals, airways. We carried bodies. We took some videos of people that, well, hey, I'm going to die. No, you're not going to die. Give me your camera. I take this guy's camera, and I take a picture of him, and I go, hey, unlock it. I take a picture of him. He goes, what are you doing? I go, hey, this is your best Instagram moment ever, kid. You're going to live. And then he looks, so I go, hey, one more picture. And then he takes a picture, points towards bullet hole with one finger, and then a thumbs up with the other. And he just smiles. Hey, my name's Ryan. I'm like, hey, good for you, Ryan. So Ryan had that positive, I'm going to make it. Other people to carry him out. Now it's about an hour and 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And in that hour and 15 minutes, we never saw a paramedic or a firefighter or a police officer other than the initial charge. And it's normal because they were all out on the street treating the 413 wounded. And they were all going up into the Mandalay Bay to try to get the guy that was killing people. So when we also try to train people and teach people that no one's going to come for you. You have to understand that. The day is going to choose you, and no one's coming to save you. So I understood, hey, there's nobody coming. We're going to save who we're going to save. Let's do the best we can. We stayed in communication. We were talking the whole time, hey, stay in eyesight. We treat, pack wounds. Then about like an hour and 15 minutes, my partner goes, hey, Mike, there's nobody left alive in here. I think we can go. So I look around. There's one guy who's alive. We helped carry him out. But everybody that was in that room was all the wounded were dead, and no one was carrying them out, and it was just us and a doctor in the tent. So I go, you know what? Let's go. And then when we walked out the back, there's a street called Guile Street. It was a ghost town. It was surreal in the sense that, hey, an hour ago there was 20,000 people listening to music. In 8 minutes, there was 413 people shot. And now all their shoes and clothes and cowboy hats, like those movies you see, those apocalypse movies,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
where all this stuff, but there's no bodies. So we walk down the street. The police are doing their job. We finally get released to the hotel room. I get back on the plane that Monday morning. I come back to work Tuesday. They go, hey, Mike, you good? I'm like, hey, I'm good. I'm fine, you know. But then around 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I landed Monday, went to work Tuesday like a normal work day. But the reality, around 12 o'clock in the afternoon on Tuesday, I had that adrenaline dump, which is normal. And then I just went home and went to sleep. And then I went through the normal, not survivor's guilt, but I had a lot of people with a lot of questions. Hey, Mike, why did you do this? I was fortunate. I had a trained person with me. Why didn't you run? Hey, my mind was running. I thought of it. You know, I just chose not to. And that's my Vegas story.
Wow. I'm in shock.
Yeah, that was deep.
Very deep. I guess the gunshots.
The gunshots.
Yes.
That gave me chills. Like that was like, I could only imagine the fear and the terrifying feelings those poor people were feeling at that time. You know. I can't even describe it. Like,
and I tell you now, you two will forever, whenever you now hear of these active shooters, what you just heard that I was able to share with you, you're going to relive it. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing because it's going to make you situationally aware. Right? You're going to hear that and you're going to stop and pause. And hey, what did Mike say? Mike says, hey, if you think it's happening, it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
The very first thing that happens is that we're in denial. Don't be in denial, have a plan. We're not asking people to live paranoid, but hey, when you go to a restaurant, sit with your back to the door.
Be aware.
When we go into a restaurant, here's a question I have for your listeners and you. If something was to happen at a restaurant, which way would you run?
Towards the door.
Towards the door.
Oh.
But what if he's at the door? And so now I'll add the answer. where does food get delivered in most restaurants?
Kitchen, the back door.
Back door.
Now you have your plan. When you go to a restaurant, just give a quick look. Where's the kitchen? Where's it at? Tell your family and kids. If it goes south, we're going through the kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not going to go to the front door because the other patrons are all going to go to the front door.
You're trained to think that way, huh? You guys have to have different outlets.
Yes, and it was more the military training. The police training is because we these young officers, both men and women, they eat in uniform. They eat in the community where they catch bad guys, so they have to be situationally aware. The advanced military training teaches one more step. What tools do I have to eat with? I have a fork and a knife. I have a plate. And it happens every day. Think about the most recent event when that guy was on the airplane and he took that broken spoon.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple males around him, but they were too scared to do anything. Maybe that's the flight you're on. Okay, so what's my game plan? Well, look around. What do most people have on their tray on a long flight?
Well, their
Computer.
computer, their phone, their iPad.
Ed, are you going to have a good day? No. So there's your tools, right? So it's just real quick looking, okay, who has the biggest computer? That guy, sizing people up. All right. There's a young man and with a woman and the baby. Okay, he's going to be prioritizing taking care of him. And then we're looking at shoes. If I get on a plane and there's a guy in cowboy boots and a guy in construction boots, they're going to be my friends. Why? Because they're going to be kind of hands-on people.
Right.
Yeah.
Another tool. When you get on the plane, you don't have to put your seatbelt on until the door shuts. People, as soon as they get on the plane, they sit down. It's their habit. They put their seatbelt on. If something was to happen before the plane took off, now you have to think about taking your seatbelt off. Don't put your seatbelt on until she says the cabin is shut. Okay, now I'll play by the rules.
That's true.
You're all these tools, right? And
Yeah.
it's not parent. You're like, okay, I like it.
No, it's true. It's play by the rules, right?
Play by the rules.
Yeah. I mean, we have so many questions.
Yeah,
but
we have questions.
yeah, and my stomach is still in a knot because I don't know how you did all that. And I mean, were you scared? I mean, I think unless you were just in that zone where you were just like, I just got to save them. Or I mean, you weren't scared. Were you scared for your life?
Yeah, we're just scared, period.
No, I wasn't afraid, and not that I'm any braver. So I've done a lot of reading, right? I've had great mentors. Let me give some background. I've done a lot of reading on history and warfare and men and women that have truly risked their lives. There's a book called The Unthinkable that tells you, hey, why brave people do brave things. It's phenomenal. So, and I've read this, so I had a background. So when the day chose me, if it ever did, and I just went to that toolbox that, hey, I'm good at this. I'm good at medicine. I have a huge ego, right? So I get to get tested today. I get to be tested. And these people are looking at me literally saying, hey, don't let me die.
Right.
And then you just transition. You just go to work.
Right. So basically you're there you were doing some training, right? You were doing some training and before that you decided to check out a concert. You're normal day. You're not thinking anything like this is going to happen. Like
You went for a good time.
good time. And then
I mean, micheladas and good mezcal.
Right.
And
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you're like, wait a second, is that? Because I know you mentioned in the first episode, you're like, you didn't really, you heard the gunfire, but you're like, hold on, is this really? Did you because I know you have training and all that. Did you recognize right away, or were you just kind of like, well, like, what did you think?
the psychology. You're 100% right. I knew it was gunfire, but I was in denial. Even
Right.
with all my deployments, the shootings I've seen and witnessed and been involved in, because it doesn't happen at a concert and it can't happen to me.
Right.
I was textbook out of the books on psychology. My first reaction was denial.
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
No matter how subtle, it can't be happening. And then my friend's like, Mike, that's gunfire. And I'm thinking, and then, okay, you're right, it is, but it's not happening here. It's happening down the block.
Right. So as you're there, and those poor people that lost their lives, rest in peace to them. And they're just out there for a good time. And then some psycho, I get lack for a better word, just decided to, go in the building and start shooting people. So when you're there, did you have to identify yourself, or did you start hopping in there? Like, because I've heard a couple other interviews that some other cops were there and they were kind of like, I don't know if they were like scared, but they were confused who was who. They didn't know who's shooting. Did you have to say, hey, I'm trained officer, I can help? Or was there any type of, or just everybody's just helping each other out?
No, once you put the medical gloves on, some officers I know ran out there to help they ran out of the venue, which is fine, right? They had a group of people, they left and they weren't coming back in. I stayed in along with my friends. We stayed with the victims.
Okay.
Wow.
I could do to a guy who has a gun, who's shooting people. I have no gun. Where am I needed? I'm needed here.
Yeah.
And when I put gloves on, I never identified myself as a police officer until almost the very end.
Right.
Put the gloves on, you were just a first responder.
Because I heard there was another interview. I forgot who it was, but he was a police officer himself. But he was talking about, he asked for a gun from another officer, and he was like, I don't know who you are. Like, he's like, I'm here to help you. I want to help, But the other cop was like, I don't know where the gunfire is coming from. You could be part of the bad guys. I don't know. So he had a hard time trying to help out. But that was some interview I saw. But it sounds like you were able to help, though.
I saw that. I saw something like that. And
right.
if a police officer there, I wouldn't give you my gun either.
No, correct. I
don't need another guy with a gun. Now, let's go back. A lot of the agencies, unlike in Orange County, don't treat medicine the way we treat medicine in Orange County. Why we are number one from the police officer and deputy's perspective as it relates to treating victims. Nobody does it better.
No, and I agree with that. I have a question for you. Are you in touch, or did anybody get in touch with you of the lives that you saved? Because you saved quite a bit. And so, I mean, you being a hero, because you are a hero.
Yes.
I mean, what you did, is huge. I mean, I don't know if you came home and your wife was like, oh my God, you're a hero. Like, I don't know.
Did you think about being a hero?
I mean, you are a hero.
Funny, right? Because my idea of a hero is a different level because of my reading, right? So right. I get it. Hey, a guy that jumps and saves a puppy in a running river, to me, that's a hero because I got a soft spot for dogs, right? So it's also
same here.
Yeah.
The irony of it, I kept in contact with one who reached out to me to a third person, right? Because I'll never see these people again.
Yeah.
And hey, I think you saved my sister's friends. Can she contact you? I'm like, sure, it'd be awesome. Mm-hmm. And then she just called me, of course, cried on the phone. We met for a cup of coffee. I don't know how to thank you. And I go, hey, you thank me by going to some medical classes. You thank me by being strong, not crawling under a rock, because there's somebody just like you. If you crawl under a rock, they'll crawl under a rock.
Right.
I had that belief as, hey, look, you are now obligated to be strong, unfortunately, because if you quit, then other people quit.
Yeah. Yeah, because what you did, there's a lot of people in your position that whatever what you did, they would have left from there traumatized. Oh my God. What I mean? That PTSD, whatever they call it. Yeah.
Do you feel like you have, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
that's okay. We do that.
Yeah, we do that. Do you look? That's pretty traumatizing to go through. I mean, do you feel like you have any type of PTSD? Is that a fair question to ask, or?
Absolutely. I think everybody in law enforcement, fire, I shouldn't say everybody, depends. Imagine the ER nurses.
Yeah.
So as a police officer, Santa Ana is different, but you see a gunshot, you see a car accident. Just think of the ER where they see that trauma every day. Does everybody have a little post-traumatic stress? 100%.
Yeah.
Different levels of it. And it used to be where they would say, you're not tough enough if you have that. And thank goodness now that the toughest veterans in the world have come out and said, hey, it's 100% normal.
Right. Yeah.
To say, hey, I'm having a bad day. And when I first started, it was that way at the police department. But fortunately, the military came around and said, hey, listen, stay away from the booze and work out and find faith. Right. Could be anything. But that's what makes you strong. And so now us senior officers will tell the younger officers, hey, it's okay. I'll give examples of, like, at work a couple years ago, we have 2 officers that jump in the pool and take out a 2-year-old. Right. To me, that was harder. And then handing it to the parents as they climbed out of the pool, and then trying to save the 2-year-old, and the baby dies. I was able just to treat shooting victims like next. I didn't have to look at mom and dad.
Right. What was your, what do you think, like, if you could tell, like, what was the age demographic that was there that probably lost their lives?
I know there was a variety of different, I don't have the age. I'm going to go. So we'll use science and physics and engineering. It's the younger people because they were closer to the stage. So I'm going to go between 21 and like 35.
Oh
my goodness.
That is so heartbreaking. I'm sorry. I'm getting
chill. I'm still trying to digest the gunshots that you let us hear. I don't know how you were able to function after hearing all of that and still save and still able to save their lives, and seeing all that blood and help that woman, get that airway. And I mean, that was just one victim, and then from one victim to the other, and just work your way through. Like, I don't even know how you did that.
But those victims had a lot of life left in them to live.
I know. Oh yeah, the younger, They're
just going out there for a good time, having a good time in Vegas, and then this psycho comes out and does that.
That's what they say, that you have to enjoy your life every day. Yeah. Like it's your last.
Right. Yeah. Enjoy life. There's a program called Stop the Bleed. So you talked about post-traumatic stress. I had a bunch of friends that were officers with me that had a hard time. They're police officers in LA, but they've never been in the shooting. They've never been in the military in combat. So they were having difficulty. So myself and another veteran, we got together and said, hey, let's go to dinner. And it is as anybody can do it. It is as simple as, hey, sitting down with dinner and just talking.
Right.
So they had a hard time.
Yes. They had a hard time because they left. Right. They felt they failed. And I'm like, well, no, you didn't fail. You weren't trained. You'll do better next time. If there is a next time. So what do you do today to make yourself feel better? You go get trained. You go learn how to save a life. Mm-hmm. It's easy to hide under a rock, or, like I'm sure our parents told us, hey, you're fine, rub some dirt on it. And
back then, yeah. Now our kids were like, you need therapy? Let me take you. You need a psychologist? Let me take you. Yeah. Back then, they're all shut up, go to your room, right?
And don't bleed on the carpet.
Yeah. Exactly. If you're bleeding, you're fine. Don't call me unless you're dying. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah.
It works.
It works. But now it's like, do you need something? Do you need therapy? Let me call a therapist. We got good insurance. Do you need to talk to somebody,
Yeah.
And no, they just need someone to tell them, hey, look, it's okay to feel bad. It's part of the recovery.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And sat down with these people. The Orange County sheriffs did a phenomenal job. They had and so did Los Angeles Police Department. They had a big barbecue with psychologists and psychiatrists where people that were there could bring their friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
As they get it, both those big agencies understood it's not just the female deputy that was at the concert. It's her husband. It's her mom or dad that were scared about her daughter that just wants to talk to somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
But it worked out. It was really great. It was a great program they had.
Go ahead.
Did Las Vegas recognize you guys for saving those lives? Did they?
There were so many people that saved lives.
Right.
They were fortunate enough to get invited with a bunch of other people to come back and debrief.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And they were smart enough. They poked holes in everything they did wrong. Las Vegas Metropolitan, Las Vegas City, they poked the holes in everything. They go, look, this is what we can do to get better, which was very nice to see an agency do that, try to cover it up. And then all of us here were able to learn from it.
Right. Yeah.
And better.
You know what's interesting? People like you guys are special people because, like, just by you talking about it, you could tell, like, it takes a certain person to be, a hero. You know, let's be real.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? So we actually had Detective Gil Carrillo. I don't know if you heard of him. He was on the Night Stalker case back in the 80s.
Yes.
Yes.
I watched.
Yeah. So we actually had him on our podcast, and we told him that we were trying to get you on, and he said, "Oh, the hero." So he knew who you were. Yeah, they call you hero, I guess, from what I heard, from what he said. Yeah. So I'm sorry, you cut out. Say it again.
That he's on Netflix. I'm not, so it's out.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But my point is that it's like I see a similarity in you guys for some reason because he saw obviously a lot of people dead in front of him from that other psycho, the Night Stalker, and I asked him the same question: is there any type of like PTSD going on? And it's something that you guys have that you're again. I'm not saying it doesn't affect you. I know it does.
Yeah.
But you guys both have this thing where you're in the right role of what you do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they do.
Sense.
And they're able to separate like all of that, what's going on, and just, separate it and do what they need to do and go on with their lives.
Right.
Like, I don't know what it is, but I think you come into police mode and like whatever you're doing mode, and then just do what you have to do. Because like you said, the lady's, that's my daughter, save her. And you're like, if I turn around and look at her face, I'm not going to look. I'm going to keep moving forward because there's nothing I can do to help her. Right. And you're like, if I look at her, then I'm done. Like, there's no way. I can't do it. I have to keep going.
But I parent too, so
Right. But there's definitely a similarity to you guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's similarity.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
They're special people. Yeah.
I think, and there's so many studies on it, and we could go back to just as simple as like what you said, your mom and dad saying, "Oh no, you're going to do it." So not that being raised a little more tender is wrong. Maybe our parents' delivery was wrong, but the message was clear. Hey, life is hard.
Yeah, suck it up.
Because guess what? What are you going to do? Climb under a rock? Suck it up.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to be strong. Now, there's not to say that you can't cry tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My example, both my parents were immigrants. My dad was a 32-year career Marine, a Vietnam veteran, went to church every Sunday.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man in the world, but the most loving man.
Right. My dad was he was in the Vietnam War. He was but he was in the Air Force, so he had to look kind of easy a little bit.
Yeah, but everybody was still leaving their family for a year, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And people think, oh, I have to work the 72-hour shift. I mean, if you can imagine, you hug your wife and your kids, your husband, and women too. They hug your husband and say, "Look, hey, I'll see you in a year and a half."
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Take
tough.
care.
That's tough.
So
Steve.
I'm sorry to have to. So after you're basically saving lives, that whole time when you're there, what happens after? Was there I know there was an ending, but was there an ending? Like, how did you get out of it? How did you, You know what I'm saying?
So
Move on with this.
Yeah. When after the shooting took place?
Tent, man. Here's the physical part. We're in the tent. Some kid is bleeding. He grabs my leg. Hey, don't let me die. Some guy's trying to treat him, and I literally have to grab this guy by his shirt collar and pull him off of the victim and say, "We have to leave." He's like, "No, I'm an EMT paramedic," and I'm physically working this guy to get the patient away from him because he's in condition black. He's locked in the mode. So I finally get the victim out. We get out and we walk down this street, and there's shoes. I'll say chanclas for my peeps.
Yep.
There's and there's hats. And we walk down the street, and there's nobody. It's a ghost town. And then we walk into the Tropicana. We open the back door, and there's people in there crying. The other side of it, there's people, right? So now there's 400 people shot. And a lot of the wounded people were shot and ran into the Tropicana. So they think there's an active shooter at the Tropicana. We walk in there. We're covered in blood too from helping people. And then there's people with their luggage at the counter saying, at the receptionist going, "Hey, we need to check out."
Yeah.
We out. And I'm just looking like, man, people have no concept of reality. So we stay inside the reception area for a minute, and there's people that are bloody and crying. I grab a bunch of pillows. I see a maid's room that's open, and I'm thinking militarily. I go, "Hey, I'm going to be here for a couple days, so I'm going to be comfortable." So I grab a bunch of pillows, and I set up like a little camp. And then I know we notice other people that don't have pillows, so we give our pillows to some kids and blankets, and then we go and get some water. And then they say, "Okay, you're done." We catch a ride to the airport, and we're looking at each other, and everybody on the plane is just like, the weird part is, you brought up a good point. Well, what happened? So we're on the plane. Everybody's looking at each other like, "Oh my God, what just happened?" So I get home. I walk in. My daughter's there. She goes, "Hey, Dad, I watched the news. You good?" Because I didn't even watch the news because I was in it.
Right.
A friend had texted me, "Hey, Mike, we saw you on Fox News." I'm like, "Okay." I get home, and she goes, "Hey, Dad, you good?" I'm like, "Yeah, Mija, I'm good." She goes, "Okay, hey, can I borrow your surfboard?" and I go, "Yeah, absolutely." She goes, "All right, love you." Grabs it, and I said, "That's what I'm talking about." And then of course she came back afterwards. She goes, "Oh, it was perfect time, Dad. I just wanted to check in on you, and I know you're not all sissy la la." And I go, "No, if you want to, you can love me right now. Dad's down for that." But that I raised her strong enough, not to be weak either, not to be like, "Oh, I'm emotionally hurt because you had a hard day." She's like, "Hey, you good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." She goes, "All right, I'll bring you something to eat when I get back."
Yeah.
Wow. Let me ask you another question, if you don't mind. You mentioned something in part one about conspiracy theory stuff. Can we talk about that? Because a lot of people think there was like 4 shooters and all that. What is your opinion on that, and what do you think?
Here's my firsthand opinion, standing there looking at gunfire coming out of one window for about 6 minutes, because out of the other 2 minutes I was hiding. So for at least 6 minutes, I'm watching all the gunfire come from one single window.
Okay.
That's it.
People, you heard this. See, there was a person there.
Yeah. I'm living proof that there was one shooter, no grassy knoll.
Yeah.
So how do we avoid all these mass shootings?
Man, you know what? Like the Las Vegas one, there was no way to avoid it, right? This guy was just a gambler. He was unhappy. He's allowed to have weapons. Now, these other mass shootings, it all, in my opinion, it comes down to mental illness. And people will say, "Hey, it's the assault rifle." Look at California. We have the strictest gun laws in the world. And that guy in Monterey Park just shot everybody up.
Yeah.
And he didn't have an assault rifle. He was a 76-year-old Asian man who was angry. And he made his gun out of a 3D printer. And now some of the other shootings, if your child or if your family member's mentally ill, you have to turn them in. And if they get turned in, they shouldn't be allowed to have a gun, or they shouldn't be allowed to live in your house if you have a gun. Kind of simple.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
It's not the gun. Does certain guns make it easier? Yes. But again, California, New York, and Chicago, we have the strictest gun laws.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe if you have mental illness, you should not have a gun.
Of course not. You shouldn't have like a lot of things.
You shouldn't have a lot of things. You shouldn't. And if someone has mental illness, the family member should be able to put them in a freaking hospital and be like, you're staying there.
Look, a lot of times
That's a different show.
It comes back to a mom, right? The single mom loves mijo, just happens to be not mijo in this cases. Because she lives alone, she raised cats, and he's a guy, whether it's Sandy Hook, whether it's Uvalde, whether it's Columbine, they all kind of the same pattern. Hey, your kid's a nut. It's not your fault your kid's crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I understand.
Turn him in.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think all these kids and I guess older adults who do this stuff, what do you think they have in common though as far as mental illness? Just
Mike's opinion. I think we were too soft on kids early on. I don't think it's video games, because I played video games and I'm not crazy. I just think that, the Purple Heart, the purple ribbon, that everybody gets a reward. And then when these young men get told no for the first time, whether a girl breaks up with him or he can't find the job because, he doesn't, I wouldn't want to buy anything from him on the other side of the counter. They blame social norms. So they finally get told no for the first time, and so they go extreme.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree, because you know what? I'm a single mom, right? I got divorced and I had raised my kids, but I'm very structured and I was very strict, because the way I was raised back in the day, them looking at us, my mom threw the chancla, my mom had the belt, my mom had the spatula. I mean, we got whooped, right?
Yeah.
Our kids, we couldn't whoop them, but you know what? I didn't care. I had a belt and I whooped them, and I didn't care. I did the old school way, right? I pulled ears, I pulled hair, I threw whatever was in my hand.
Jeez, you're going to jail now.
Well, you know what? That's how I raised my kids, right? And nowadays they don't do that. Now you just have to talk to them.
And then what happens is then the kid finally gets told no at 18, and they lose their mind.
Yes.
It's like, oh my God, it's basically throwing a tantrum, but in an extreme way.
You nailed it. It's a tantrum with a gun.
Yeah, it's sad.
And the recent shooter was a woman. Was a woman. It was the Nashville, right?
Well, she wasn't.
Yeah.
Was she
trans?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even know what was she a woman or?
She was a woman. I think that I don't even want to get into that.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the starting team was, but either way, the officers, good for those young officers, right? Save those kids.
Yes, yeah.
Hey, if you're gonna shoot up a school right now, hey, by all means, you're gonna get shot.
But I love that they went in and they went all the way in.
Don't hurt the damn kids, dude. You're gonna get shot if you can get that. Whatever.
Yeah, they went in, and I was so proud of them to go all the way in, all of them. I mean, that's the way it should be from the beginning.
Yeah,
they should go in. I mean, they're trained to, right? You guys are trained to do everything you need to do necessary to protect.
But it takes the individual to want to do it. And having watched that video, one of the guys was a former Marine, but you could just hear in his voice telling what he was is leading everybody. Let's go, push, on me.
Yes.
Bravery and cowardice are contagious.
Yes.
Starts to run, everybody starts to run. If one person stops, tells others, hey, help me, people will stop. Whether they're shamed or there's just comfort in numbers because we're pack animals, right? The mental science behind it.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Wow. That is crazy though. Like, it is a tantrum with a gun.
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
That's what we're gonna basically say. It is.
It is.
Praise.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm still trying to digest what you showed us. I can't, I don't know how you do it, and all hands down to you. I mean, my stomach is I still can't get over the video and hearing all of that and everything you did.
Yeah.
You are a hero. I mean, I know
Definitely.
you're like, no, but you are.
Well,
you are a hero.
Detective Gil Carrillo he goes, I go, hey, yeah, we're getting the sergeant from Santa Ana. He's like, oh, hero. Yeah, I know. That's what he called you. Yeah.
So you are a hero. You are.
I guess I owe him a beer.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll take it too.
I wish you were here because, it would have been nice to have you. But I mean, honestly, you're always welcome here. And I hope when you get better, you come.
Yeah, I will. You guys coordinate it, and I don't have to wait till I'm better. I can hobble down. You guys coordinate it with Gil. I'll meet you guys, and you'll have us both share a beer.
That'd be awesome. That'd be so
both
cool.
of you guys. You know what? Gil will come back, and you guys can talk about a lot of stuff. We would totally have you guys on.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's hilarious. He's funny. You haven't met him before, right?
Oh,
yeah,
no.
he's such a good guy, and you guys would get along really good. You guys have the same personality and everything. I can tell.
I have a question for you. One of your buddies, the ones from LAPD that was there to help you save the lives. You think he'd come on with you? Bring him on.
Yeah.
Well, bring him on. We would love to have you guys here. To on the show. It would be nice to.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
We'd love to do it for two reasons, right? One, it helps somebody else who was there.
Yes.
Two, it's going to project the next young officer or the next young person that goes,
Absolutely.
I could be Mike, Terry, or Johnny on any given day. So it's selling a product, and the product is saving lives.
Right.
Absolutely. And that's what we're here for, for awareness, for everything, you helping everybody out, I mean, yeah, the young ones coming in, and you guys are there again, being heroes. And I don't know how you do it every day, but you do. And I mean, still can't get over it.
We just had the mayor of Aliso Viejo on before you, and he even knew about you. He's like, oh, I got to share that interview when you guys are done, because he actually knows somebody in the city council that unfortunately their relative passed away in the shooting. But he was very happy that you were going to be on, and we literally just had him on before you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. But it was an honor to have you.
Thank you so much.
Sergeant Gonzalez, I want you to be here soon once you get better with your knee, so you can have a beer with Gil. And again, thank you so much for being here and for saving those lives in Las Vegas. That was big. Horrific. What is it? That word? Horrific. I can't speak. I can't speak right now.
Heroic.
Yes.
I can't do it now either.
Horrible.
Horrible. No puedo hablar ahorita, but you know what I mean. You're a big hero. Thank you so much.
The hero was on the show.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'll leave it at that.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Take care.